I thought I'd take you guys back in time, back when I used to go to school. When we were in high school and junior high and elementary school, if the teacher wanted to do something audiovisual wise, she didn't have a lot of choices. We had movies, 16mm movies, where we watched movies in the class. We had slides, and we also had film strips. And I happen to have a couple film strip projectors here I'm going to show you. Film strips have been around for many years. They were used mostly for education. Almost everything was educational. As a matter of fact, I have someplace an Etzel film strip that the Etzel dealers would run in their showrooms for prospective customers. I don't know where that film strip went to. But I wanted to give you a quick lesson with some neat stuff. We also are going to look inside one of the machines too in a moment. Originally, you had slides. Now this is a carousel film program. This one's called No Man is an Island, an inquiry into alienation. It's a series of slides in a carousel format, and it came with a LP record. Now what's interesting back then is one side says here, an audible signal for slide advance. So when you put the needle down, it would be playing and you'd hear it boop, and that would tell the person to advance to the next slide. So it keeps it in sync. See, none of that nonsense with barcodes and sync that they have these days. The other side though said, side 2, without the signal, use the script to cue the slide advance. So I can just imagine the teacher reading along the script and saying, oh, advance lane. So you didn't hear that boop, but you had to manually do it. But guess what? They became super sophisticated. In the 80s, actually before that, I should take that back, probably earlier than that. This equipment's from 1982, 83. But film strips have been around for many years. This package of film strips, this is how the school would get them. The teacher would order, I'd like to order Winnie the Pooh on the Way to School series of film strips. They would come, they'd be on the shelf at the school district with these numbers on them. It would arrive in the classroom by courier. The school district actually purchased these from Disney. Disney did tons of stuff for the schools. And then the teacher could play the film strips for the amount of time they borrowed them for. Now we're going to do Pooh Meets a Stranger. Got your cassette and your film strip. They came in these neat little boxes. And here is what a film strip is. It's 35mm film, and it's a series. I mean, I don't know if I should hold it up to the light. Is that better, Frank?
Yeah, a little bit better.
And you can see the color pictures on it. This film strip's actually on what they call a low fade stock. Kodachrome was around, and Kodak also had a stock called LPP. And that's this whole strip. Now notice it says the end there, so the teacher knew what end and the other. Now look, obviously you're handling the film, you're going to get the film dirty. That was the only problem with film strips, because there's no container, there's nothing. You literally had to roll them up like this to load them into the projector. But let's sit down and see what's going on. Frank is our cameraman today. Our projector had audio and lamp. So you could actually use this as a cassette player too. The front opens up real easy. There's even instructions on it. I need them badly. You put your film strip in this little plastic thing that held it. Isn't that clever? And then you slid the film right in the front, and you pushed it until it got to where it would stop, and then you'd push fast forward, just like on your VCR. And it would advance it right on the telescreen, but none of that nonsense. Now look, right here on the side, you could actually move the film strip back and forth with this big giant knob here, right there. And you'd center the picture. There we are, start. Simple enough, right? We'd open up the cassette player. Now, really neat. They made a lot of progress. The cassette, one side says inaudible signal for automatic operation. Ooh, automatic. And of course the other side says audible tone for manual operation. Well, I don't see anybody that would bother if they had their equipment to do inaudible. So we will do that. We'll slide our cassette in, close it, and what we do now is we advance the slide. The teacher would know that. That's the tape. Look at it. Film strip 712. Disney made an awful lot of these. Wow. You simply push the button, you're going to get to a focus. They always had one frame that's focus. So at that point you can get it nice and sharp, and you can make sure you're centered. And then advance to green frame and start record. Now this film strip's 1975. It's possible they just had records then, and they didn't have cassettes. Disney reissued these films for years. I think a lot of you can remember watching films that were from the late 50s, early 60s, and they were still running those same films in the 70s and 80s before everything became videotape and of course DVD. Now we advance to the green frame. There it is. We hit the start, play, we make sure our volume is up a little bit, and we wait. And the machine takes over. I'm going to leave this compartment over so you can see it as it moves. Oh, there's even a headphone jack right there, so you could listen quietly. Now the screen isn't big, but there we go.
Walt Disney Educational Media Company presents
Familiar announcer too. That's the same announcer Disney used for years.
Winnie the Pooh on the way to school.
And
A set of film strips
And there's
about
the
getting
set.
to school safely.
a whole bunch of them. And there's our copyright,
Who meets a
75.
stranger. This morning, who thought he was a lucky
Now if you look
bear?
right in here, you can
Here he
actually
was,
see
going to
the
school
mechanism
with Mr.
advancing it.
And with no one else along. Now, he thought, would
You
be
can
the
see the frames
perfectly
pop
best
in.
time to ask him
Now,
the right question about school. If
These
only
film
he
strips
could
actually
think of one.
run close to,
Now it so
gosh, it's,
happened, Pooh was particularly
this one's I think 12 or 13 minutes. It depends on what they could fit on one side. But typical film strips were between 10 and 15 minutes. Now you know what? This would be a good opportunity now to shift to the inside of the machine so you can actually see how the operation inside happens.
Pooh loved to tickle. Pooh saw
We're now showing the inside of the machine so you could kind of see how it works. You see there's a translucent screen, and then this is a mirror, and the projector is actually right here. Now this is the take-up of the film, and the projection bulb is back there, and then over here this is the amplifier and circuit that senses the pulse that's on the cassette tapes. It's pretty neat.
They
So
play a lot rougher too.
now
Do you play with them?
In a couple of
you can
years,
see the
I'll be
picture is
able to.
very bright
But now I
and
have trouble
clear,
keeping up or doing all the
considering
things
all
they
this
do.
ambient light's
That's
coming
not much
in.
fun. I think it's wise to play with friends my own size. I'm especially careful if
You
I'm
can
playing
see
with someone
here
who's
as
older,
the film
who I
is
don't
running.
know. If he gets too rough or starts to bully people,
But
I leave.
That sounds
So-
like a very good idea.
There's your projection
I think
bulb
that's what I would
to
do.
change. There's a master fuse.
stumping along.
I did notice,
Christopher saying that he
I noticed there's no fan for the light bulb, which is kind of surprising. You'd think that they'd have some kind of cooling system, but as you can hear, it's perfectly quiet, except for the film strip advance every few seconds as it advances to the next picture. So, interesting. Anyway, let's go back to the case on the front. And this compartment closes like this,
stopped in front of
so it's all out of view. Oh, look!
Hi, kid. Going to school?
Yes, sir.
Well, hop in. I'll give you a ride. I'm going your way.
No thanks.
Oh, come on. It's free. No charge, Sonny. You want to bring your friend along, too?
No.
How about a candy bar? No charge.
Boy, they were having this trouble back then,
I
huh?
don't want any.
Okay, okay. You sure you don't want to ride?
Yes, sir.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's your feet.
Amazing.
Know what to think about that. The
Anyway.
thought of not getting a ride.
Over here is another projector. This is a film strip projector, but this one projects on the wall. So, you know, you would project this on a big screen. Obviously, we don't have a big screen here, but this way you could actually run your film from a distance. Now, this machine here also has automatic advance, and it has a cassette player too. But once again, a lot of you probably remember having a projector with no sound, and it was just silent. See, that's what really dates me here, because I'm now 57.
Wow.
Anyway, let's get back to this. All right.
Yes, Pooh. So if some stranger sitting next to you tries to touch you, You run to the nearest usher and tell him about it. And what's the
Careful,
matter,
boy.
I wish there were no bad strangers, Christopher Robin.
So do I.
I can't
But
get
there
any
are,
peace here.
So I never forget it.
Trying
I've
to
made
watch
up some
an
safety rules
educational
about
film
bad
strip.
strangers. I always follow
Anyway.
them, and my friends do too.
What are they, Christopher?
Well, I always get home from play before dark. At a park or zoo
So
or
as you
beach
can
or
see,
picnic ground.
the film is
I
running
always
out.
go to the restroom with a friend.
I can see
or a
the word
grown-up.
end.
I try never to go alone. I stay with my friends when I'm playing
Pretty
with
good,
them,
huh?
especially in wooded or bushy.
And of course, as it ends,
Finally, if a stranger asks me if I want to play in his house or his garage, I go right home and ask my parents for permission.
Oh, remember those rules, Christopher Robin. And then when I get back to
Not
the
bad,
Home
huh?
of Wood, I'll tell Piglet
And of course it gave the
Eeyore
teacher
and
a break,
everybody all
too.
about them and about bad strangers, too.
You're very smart, Pooh.
Thank you.
That's the right thing to do, because everyone should know about bad strangers
So anyway.
for their own safety.
With that, Christopher gave Pooh a hug.
all these
Topped
different
off,
programs
saying that it might be a
came.
good idea.
We don't know whatever
Two of
happened to
them
a lot of them. I
played
found
when he got
one.
home from
Here's
school.
one about Martin Luther King,
But
for
Pooh
instance.
barely heard a word of that. What was going through his mind was,
Maybe you will find the film strip projectors in one of these, and this one's in such great shape too.
that was something a bear of very little brain didn't hear often. And of course, it made
And I
him
think it's
quite
the end.
happy.
Now I'll show you how
Dorothy
the
went
film
toward
ends.
home thinking that he was indeed lucky that some questions had popped into his head that morning. And thinking that,
Maybe someday
Excuse me.
I'll be able to think of some more. Well, one or two anyway.
Cute, huh? And there it is. Your show's over, and all you have to do to get the film out is hit your advance. You're all done. What you'll do is now I'm rewinding. Get all the way to the back. We'll move that back. We'll take our cassette out, and we're ready for part 2. This is a film strip that has no audio. It's just picture. Encyclopedia Britannica. Some of you older folks will remember that name. But they licensed from Walt Disney, and this is 1960. And then this is adapted from Melody Time. But you'll notice the color has faded. This is where an example of something turning pink or red. But notice this is no audio because they put the titles right there. And of course, people read along with it as they advanced. And my guess is it's possible there was music they could play. I don't know. But it looks like this was all self-contained. So this was a series, and this came in a little tiny box here. Little Toot. Walt Disney Wonder Tales. So this is a very short one too, but I guess they could hold the slide on the screen as long as it took the teacher to read it to the kids or whatever. I just thought you'd like to see another example of one of the many film strips. Oh gosh, there must have been thousands of them made. Whatever happened to them all? Boy, they're probably out there someplace. But there's a good example of a different kind of film strip. Anyway, I hope you were enjoying our film strip, and I hope it brought back some good, happy memories for some of you. We'll see if we can find some other ancient equipment and do some other stuff that's non-pinball related. Who knows? Thank you. Think of this as early PowerPoint presentations.
Wonder where you got that from.
How about having a private party here at TNT Amusements in our maze-like showrooms?
Did you know that we have well over 60 games on free play?
And your guests get unlimited playtime in our air-conditioned showroom.
Try our antique light bulbs or look at our hologram collection. Plus, we're always changing games in the showroom, so there's always different games to play.
And one of our party hostesses will run your entire party for you, making it real easy for you. I'd like you to meet my lovely wife, Pam. You know, folks, Pam and I were happy for almost 25 years. And then we met. Ha ha ha.
25 years, eh?
That's not even my joke. It's Rodney Dangerfield. But it's banana cream.
Look, your very own private party room.
And we even show a classic cartoon while they're eating their food. We'll make your party a smash hit.
We're in the yellow pages under amusements.
Hope you enjoyed our show tonight, folks. And we have a little bit of time left over, so let's run some bloopers.
Sure.
I forgot to zoom, so let's go back and do it one more time. Your guests get unlimited play in our air-conditioned showrooms. Go ahead.
And your kiss.
Guests. Living is good, isn't it, folks? That's all for now. Good night.